Hey there, welcome to the video. This is going to be a bit of a different video from my usual content. I do post a lot of RDR2 videos, and even though this technically isn't an RDR2 channel, as I do play and post a lot of other things, it's definitely a game that I really enjoy and I like to make videos about. Either way, this is going to be a video reviewing the game and just saying my opinion on it. So yeah, hope you enjoy. The graphics and details in this game are some of the best I've ever seen. For example, if you walk into mud, it leaves footprints that eventually fill with water. If you're up in the grizzly mountains and walk into trees with snow on them, the snow falls off and gets onto your clothes. If you dive or walk into snow, it also gets snow on your clothes and it shows the area where you dived or walked. Another thing is, when you walk on ice, you can actually slip on it or slide on it. The characters in the game look pretty realistic, from the hair, the eyes to the skin, even their clothes are realistic and detailed. An example of this are Arthur's eyes, which can reflect what he sees in front of him. Or another example, Arthur's clothes, which you can see are very tattered and worn. When it comes to animals, the skin on horses or fur on deer are very realistic and detailed. The combat and mechanics are good, and so are the guns. The guns usually feel pretty nice to use, and usually feel like they deal a decent amount of damage. It's quite unique to see such old weapons in a game, where usually it's set in modern times, maybe older times, but not quite as old as the 1800s. A lot of the weapons are weapons that I had never even heard of or knew existed, even though they're often renamed. The hand-to-hand combat is simple, but it feels like it really does some damage. The Deadeye is an interesting feature, and it can be really useful when tackling a lot of enemies. The Deadeye feature is something that's been in the Red Dead franchise for years, so it makes sense for them to include it in this game as well. Regarding shotguns, the fact that you are able to literally just shoot off limbs is something that is pretty grotesque, but it's something that is also pretty cool in the sense of it just goes to show how much detail there is in the game. Mechanics like hunting are pretty fun, however skinning the animals aren't as fun due to the long animations that take a lot of time, and features like needing to clean your gun can also be a bit frustrating. But cleaning your gun, as well as hair growth being a mechanic, all make the game feel a lot more realistic, or at least more detailed. Now, the characters in the game, especially the ones in the gang, but also the other ones in the cutscenes, all have their own personalities and their own traits, flaws and everything. They really feel like independent people rather than just side characters to Arthur, although that's sort of what they are. Speaking of Arthur, to give a quick analysis, Arthur is a morally complex man. He kills, he robs, he steals, and he's generally just a bad man. He even says so himself.
I ain't changed. I'm still a bad man.
However, there's also a good side to him, a side that wants to help people and be nice to the other gang members, and it's clearly shown in the first part of the game, but even more so in the later parts of the game, where he changes for the better. And even if you play the low honor route, you Arthur still changes to some extent and becomes better, at least a little.
You won't bring your husband back, I know. You need money and I don't.
Well, you're a good man.
The story is very well made, and even though the campaign is kind of long, it's enjoyable to me. It's by far the best story game that I've ever played so far, in my opinion. The main story missions and side missions alike are really well made. A lot of them aren't as fun as others, but overall, both main story and side story missions are enjoyable. There's multiple activities in the game, such as poker, dominoes, five-finger fillet, and blackjack. You can also go fishing, go hunting, and go bounty hunting. There are a lot of NPCs in the game. A lot of them are around towns, or small camps, or just riding around in the wild. The NPCs are quite interesting due to how many dialogue options there are.
Howdy.
Hello, sir.
That's a strong-looking horse.
Thanks.
Well, good luck to you.
Bye.
Good weather we're having.
Suppose it's all right.
Well, make the most of it.
Bye then.
Mister,
Hey, mister.
good to see manners ain't dead yet. Hey, mister.
Hello.
I tell you, life ain't easy.
If it weren't for the bad, we wouldn't know when it was good.
You're a good man, ain't you? All the best, then.
On va på la
Country seems fine.
Ah.
Stay safe now.
Ha det gott!
And how they actually have lives in a sense, they have a routine that they go through. Lastly, there are also enemy camps that you are able to attack in order to get small amounts of loot and so on. All things have their downsides, even this game. And some of the things that I dislike about the game are things such as not being able to rob banks freely, even though you can rob trains. And even then, trains aren't really worth robbing due to the bounty that you get being a lot more than the small amount of cash that you actually get from NPCs and whatnot. The level design or mission design is a bit limiting, but it's not a big concern of mine. One of the cities, Saint Denis, is way too packed. Trying to ride your horse or even just walk in the street can be challenging without hitting anyone. The fact that John also can't swim, it can also be annoying at times, even though it's kind of cool how they implemented the mechanic into the game due to the fact that you couldn't swim in the first Red Dead Redemption game. To conclude this video, I would like to say that Red Dead Redemption 2 definitely has its flaws, but it's still one of my favorite games and one of the best games that I've ever played, and I really don't think that Red Dead will be surpassed, at least for a few years, due to the sheer amount of detail and effort that's been put into the game and just how good it is in my opinion. But we'll see. Thank you for watching.